Okay, so the abstract of my presentations is this: the rhythmic pulsations of the two solar plexuses of our solar system rule and teach the elevation of energy from planetary and human plexuses to the planetary and human heart, from the astral to buddhic plane, from individual to group consciousness. Their cyclic celestial geometries reveal the sound or causal purpose of their relationship. As we all know, the theme of the energy transfer from the solar plexus, 6th ray, to the heart center, 2nd ray, is central and crucial for the current level of humanity, focused almost entirely on the level of the desire mind, kama manas in Sanskrit. We think driven by desire and not yet by loved wisdom, the primary goal for our and planetary evolution. Consistently or analogically, even our non-sacred planetary logos is in fact focused on the cosmic astral plane and therefore still expressing its 3rd ray of personality. He must learn to settle on the cosmic mental plane, where the causal bodies of the sacred luminaries and of the solar logos work. Then he will be able to express his soul's 2nd ray. Likewise, the transfer from 6 to 2 is primary for the entire current solar system, being of the 2nd ray and dedicated to the evolution of consciousness, as we know, the 2nd aspect. No longer only of the 3rd aspect of matter substance, which was the transfer from 5 to 3, from sacral to the throat centers, as in the 1st solar system, and not yet of the 1st aspect of life spirit from 7 to 1, from the base to the head centers. In terms of esoteric psychomathematics, we can say that the passage from 6 to 2 involves the sacrifice of the 3, or the 3rd aspect for the 2nd. 6 divided 3 is equal to, or the subtraction of the 4th aspect, 6 minus 4 equal 2. If the matter personality learns not to resist the evolutionary motion, the divine incentive, that is, if it sacrifices itself to the evolutionary necessity, it is made sacred. It is enlightened, and the suffering of the astral waters and of the 3rd aspect disappears. Here is an important quote. And it is only in the solar plexuses of the disciples and initiates, no longer ruled by Mars, but by Neptune, the sacred 6th ray and 2nd schema of the synthesis, he who veils the Christ as initiator of humanity, that the law of sacrifice can become detached from suffering, pain, and difficulty, finally at the joyful service of the sacralization of substance through the sacredness of sensitivity of consciousness. Sacrifice the 1st aspect or power of divine love, then makes the form sacred, or as Madame Blavatsky explains the term sacre, spirit fecundates and sublimates matter. In an astrological key, in recent years, this divine comedy is really represented on the solar scene, which implies the tragedy for the form side, the 3rd aspect, not yet transmuted. And as Heidi pointed out, this year we have the exceptional presence of both Neptune, 6th ray and god of the waters, and of Jupiter, 2nd divine ray and master of love and wisdom, in their saving sign Pisces. It hasn't happened since 1856, and Pisces transmits precisely these 2 equal rays between plexus and heart. between the fish linked to matter and the one turned to the spirit. Here, these two rulers represent the infinite expansion and sensitivity of the spatial substance, Jupiter, and the return to being, to the house of the Father, to communion with the world of ideas, Neptune. Mars, at the moment of the last December solstice, the initiatory and synthetic moment of the entire planetary breath 2022, geocentrically went forth, charged with the energies of his hierarchical sign, Sagittarius, while heliocentrically with those of his esoteric and exoteric sign, Scorpio, to ignite gradually all the deep luminaries. Flanked by Venus, it joined Pluto, very powerful and disruptive in Capricorn, on 3rd of March 2022, geocentrically, and on 19th of April, heliocentrically, as happened 2 years ago when even Jupiter and Saturn passed through Capricorn, at the time, February-March 2020, of the spread in Europe of the pandemic. Therefore, the destructive power, but also the reforming power of all obsolete structures, forms of relationship and old conventions in the political, economic, and organizational fields, that is, the 1st, 3rd, and 7th ray of Capricorn, are stirred up. Then, in the course of March, Mars, together with the solar angel Venus from Aquarius, square Uranus in Taurus, while at a heliocentric or causal level, it happens in May. So in March, Mars has reactivated the difficult crucifying right angle of the Saturn-Uranus quadrature, active in 2021-22, the luminaries of battle, which shakes every need for security and stability, Taurus, in the name of the advancing new Aquarius. However, the square also greatly stimulates the search for a new harmony. Maybe, let me see if, okay. Yes, here. Okay. However, the square also greatly stimulates the search for a new harmony between the planetary Ajna center ruled by Taurus, the new group of world servers, as we heard, and the planetary heart center ruled by Aquarius, the hierarchy. In particular, Mars and Saturn meet on April 5th, as we can see here, heliocentrically next on May 25th. This conflictual conjunction in Aquarius in the month of Aries speaks to us of a great renewal push, which at best, from the human group's soul or heliocentric point of view, inspires a shared desire for reforms and new forms and solutions for the science of service. You will have the text if you would like to check in depth later. Okay, Jupiter and Neptune, meanwhile, tighten more and more to culminate in their very powerful saving conjunction on April 12, geocentrically. While heliocentrically, it will be June the 6th, 2022, a very important date, in the receptive and liberating waters of Pisces. Here are their geocentric conjunction of these decades. Their last conjunctions were therefore in Aquarius in 2009 or earlier in Capricorn in 1996. And the next ones will be in 2035 in Aries and in 2047 in Taurus. Among all the signs, their most powerful conjunction is, however, that in Pisces, and concerns the saving force that destroys all the obstacles, regency of Pluto, by the work of love, wisdom, and its agents of transmissions. The lords of compassion, such as we, the fourth creative hierarchy, are in essence. So purified desire and sensitivity, Neptune replacing Mars, save in the name of love, wisdom, Jupiter. Love is fallen and blinded when desire is rampant. Desire vanishes when love triumphs. The expansion of consciousness, Jupiter, corresponds to the increase in the sensitivity of substance to the impressions and will of life, Neptune, Vulcan. A moment of breath will be at the end of April, well, it was, when Venus, the solar angel, has reached geocentrically the two great mothers, Jupiter and Neptune, at the edge of the sign of the Father and of the Sun Savior, Pisces. In beautiful sextiles to Pluto in Capricorn and to Mercury in Taurus. From 26th to 27th of April, there was a stellium with also Mars and Moon transiting in Pisces. It has been a propitious time for humanity, the planetary thought center ruled by Pisces, to lessen its resistance to the evolutionary necessity and to make the saving force of the great triangle Shambhala hierarchy, humanity, circulate. Even if we can attest this in form, in humanity, in appearance, these are causal impulses that are really working in humanity, and especially in this, through this stellium. The solar heart Jupiter has just entered Aries on 11th of May. Heliocentrically, it will be on August 17th. And Mars and Jupiter geocentrically will return back to Pisces and then definitely in Aries at the time of the solstice in December, in this next December 2022. Okay, and Mars joins its superior Neptune in Pisces on May 18, immediately after the peak of Vesak, as we know, in 3 days. The two solar plexuses unite and merge, and a new dose of compassion floods the glamour astral body of humanity. Here we see Mars already in Aries conjunct Jupiter. He will enter in Aries on May 25 and will join the hard Jupiter at 3 degrees of Aries on May 29. This either precipitates uncontrolled impetuosity or the Kamamanas advances driven by the love of the enlightened mind, either prevaricating presumption or desire and revelation of new forms of wisdom. If the view is correct, June will be a propitious time for a triumph of right human relations in the name of the Christic principle buddhic. Mainly, as mentioned, the heliocentric conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune on June 6, here at 23 degrees, 23 minutes. Wonderful. Marvelously reached by Venus on the 11th of June, when the apparent sun passes between the stars of the cosmic Christ, grand cosmic Christ Orion, and the full moon of Gemini is prepared on Earth. It will be on June 14. Consecrated to the one humanity and to right human relations. Spiritual love is the winner, and awakened hearts will have to be ready to assist this inundation of Christic magnetism. Christ in us, certainty of glory. Desire moved by love is our certain hope of victory. It is the propulsive energy of the return to good, that fire of devotion and abstract idealism that builds and realizes it in due time according to the spatial art of cycles. To remember, the 2-6 rhythm cycle Jupiter-Neptune is the higher octave of that between Jupiter and Uranus, the polarity 2-7 of the beneficial fulfillment, being the periods of revolution of Uranus and Neptune in this double harmonic ratio. Uranus are 84 Earth years, Neptune about 164-68. So we can infer that between April and June 2022, the united breath and unified rhythm of Jupiter and Neptune, the two great mothers, rulers of Pisces, circulate the fulfillment of good in the solar space, ensured by Jupiter and Uranus, rulers of Aquarius. While Uranus and Jupiter join every 14 years, building a 6-pointed star in the sky every 84 years in anti-clockwise sense direction. Neptune and Jupiter join every about 13 years, each time in the next sign, making a full circle of 12-13 conjunctions in about 166 years in a year of Neptune. Wonderful composed cycle. Their united breath and unified rhythm therefore magnetizes and connects the 12 successive petals or degrees of the open spiral of the solar heart, the zodiac, the horizon and the wheel that moves for love, the evolution of consciousness on the common plane of the ecliptic. In this all-important conjunction of 2022, their second and sixth ray energies, combined with those of Pluto's first liberating ray in collaborative sextile from Capricorn, all three transmitting agents or rulers of Pisces, engage in the depths of consciousness, that burning germ or desire for the salvific force, which in due course will make humanity emerge from identifications with the material aspect of becoming, to reveal the essence, the unity of the whole, and the reality of man as cosmic love incarnate, Buddhi or sixth Christ principle. Continuing with the motions of the solar plan in 2022, at the heliocentric level, Mars in Pisces will reach the superior plexus Neptune on July 18, another important date for the higher causal level, and the hard Jupiter on July 26th, to finally enter Aries on July 28th. Since we can ascribe the heliocentric level to the highest and systemic causal impulses, it is here that the solar warrior who transforms the wheel of Vulcan into action, purified by the encounter with the love and compassion of the Father, Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, advances as the angel defender of the good, the beautiful and the true, and from the plane of ideas, rules. Geocentrically, at the beginning of August 2022, Mars will reach Uranus, Helio on October 14, and the lunar node at 1819 Taurus. Uranus again in a large square to Saturn in Aquarius. Lightnings and flashes in the vision. The vision of the new has as its prize the sacralization of the past and the abandonment of the veils of unreality. The true power to make all things new is sacrifice, the sacrum facere in Latin, the power of love, which is the law of necessity. Such then is the march of our elder brothers in this crucial time. Let us now see a little more expanded the cycle of the two plexuses, Mars and Neptune, to monitor their fusion in service of the heart or to the heart of the sun and the divine second ray. It is noted how the two meet on average every 23 months, 7 times in each sign. This figure refers to their heliocentric encounters, therefore univocal, without retrogradations. From the conjunction of 28th of October, here, okay, at 28 degrees, to that of 10th of June 24, 164 years pass, a cycle of Neptune, with approximately 84 conjunctions with Mars, and 84 is 7 times 12. It is the sacred number that unites life and space, the 7 rays of life to the 12 petals of the zodiac and the heart of space. 84 is the number of the relationship between the Hierophant to the mysteries Uranus and the neophyte Earth Gaia. The next heliocentric conjunction Mars-Neptune on 18 July 2022, we can assert to be consecrated to the solarization of the plexus. So 18 of July, to the dissolution of kamamanas, of the egotistic aspects of desire, at a certain level, of course, will be precisely the 6th one in Pisces at 23 degrees, and in the 6th sector of Pisces if we divide the sign according to the septenary rule. Important accentuations of 6, that number and ray of the perfection in form, decay says, the hexagon that contains the 6-pointed and 7-centered star of the hierarchical order. This union between the 6 rays will take place precisely in conjunction with Jupiter at 7 degrees of Pisces, which is not frequent. In particular, we note that the Earth will then be close to Pluto, yeah? That is, the Sun will be opposite to Pluto between Cancer and Capricorn in this geocentric perspective. So July 2022 is a great moment of purification and ascension of desire and of deepening of the supermundane sensitivity. The rhythmic pulsation of the 2 solar plexuses of our solar system about every 2 years, which simultaneously see Jupiter tracing in the zodiac the sides of an hexagon, the perfect form, therefore govern and teach the elevation of energy from the plexus to the heart at a solar, planetary, and human level, from the astral plane to the buddhic plane, from individual to group consciousness. The rhythm of 7 times 12 conjunctions, 7 full revolutions of Jupiter, reveals the sound and the causal purpose of their relationship. In each sign, they emit a star of life with 7 impulses to unify the upper triangle of the heart soul and the lower one of the plexus personality. While Jupiter builds and teaches the beneficial accomplishment through the fusion of heart and mind, from Mars to Neptune, the basic sensitivity of consciousness rises from astral to buddhic, from human to Christic. Conversely, from Neptune to Mars, conflictual and separative action becomes heroic, inspired by the spiritual vision and universal compassion. There's much to process, but we will have the text, both the text and the video. The other compound cycle involved between Mars and Jupiter shows that they join every 26-27 months. According to the univocal heliocentric dates of their encounters, from the 16th of May, here up, down this, okay. Yes, from the 16th of May of 2020 conjunction at 17 of Capricorn, where Saturn and Pluto also dominated, see worldwide pandemic, to that of 19 of February in 2056 at 23 of Capricorn, 36 years and 16 conjunctions pass, when they close the circle by drawing a 16-pointed star. A 16 petals throat center drawn, however, in 3 pentacles or successive unifications in a constructive quintile relationship. Every time Jupiter meets Mars, he reproportions by teaching him lessons of wise collaboration rather than of egotistic competition. Returning to the triad 6-2 Mars, Neptune, Jupiter, we have been seeing that the solar plexuses and heart can be found in Pisces every cycle of Neptune, which is about 164 years, approximately every 14 or 2 times 7 cycles of Jupiter. But in the preceding or subsequent times, if it happens, often they are not in triple conjunction. So it was in 1856, in 1689, or 1358. And it will be in 2188. To have all 3 of them joined in Pisces, like today in 2022, it is necessary to go to 1524 in full renascence, or to 2342. So it's really a great year. It is therefore a very propitious time today to raise the human energies from the astral to the buddhic plane, from the plexus to the heart, from desire to love, and thus to return to the Father's house to save and revive the prisoners of the planet. Today, 2022, is the time of a Christic renaissance in view of the hierarchical peak of 2025, which will see the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune at the initiatory beginning of Aries. Here, heliocentrically, in relation to all 3 of its rulers, Mars, Mercury, and Uranus. Will the drosses be burned to plant finally a new solar civilization moved by the will to good and based on goodwill? From 2025 onwards, humanity might experience a higher release from inner Kamamanasic war as a consequence of group consciousness reformation caused by Pluto in Aquarius, and it will be from 2024 to 2042, with a global planning for the start of a new solar culture, Saturn-Neptune in Aries. Uranus, solar mental permanent atom, and the Syrian head of our solar fleet in 2025 is conjunct to Alcyone in the Pleiades, the hub of our local universe, holds, and here it holds and will hold the right direction. Finally, it can also be thought that this triple Mars-Neptune-Jupiter conjunction prepares the field for the arrival of Pluto in Pisces from 2042 to 2068, esoteric and hierarchical ruler of the sign, to complete the current phase of regeneration of humanity before the sun rises. That is, before the center peak of the 500 years in progress between the two eras indicated in 2117. I lit up the light because here it's late. Okay, so glory to the great solar saviors. Okay, we have 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Let me check. Yeah, 9 minutes. Okay, as a necessary appendix, this solar divine comedy between plexuses and heart is briefly inserted in the major schedule set up by the deeper luminaries Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. We note that since 900 AD to 5340 AD, from Pisces to Capricorn ages, the unions between these most profound lords, Neptune and Pluto, Vicar non-sacred or Vulcan, first ray sacred, happen in Gemini, the head of the cosmic Christ Sirius, and pure second ray sign, whose creative hierarchy is the agent of transmission of the desire for duality from the sixth subplane of the sixth astral cosmic plane, 6-6. In a synthetic formula, these 4,500 years are under the banner of the will, Pluto, to dissolve Neptune, everything in love, Gemini. 2 ages passing 4,500 years, therefore the ecliptic sector of 30 degrees, qualified in this precessional cycle by the Gemini sign archetype, intercepts different sidereal constellations, those of the Baal and Ram. Furthermore, it is noted that the successive conjunctions in a particular sign between Neptune and Pluto don't have a regular angular interval. So there are only 2 or 3 in Pisces and in Aquarius, for example, and 9 in the current Gemini for precisely, for 5,000 years. This is plausibly related to the eccentricity of Pluto's orbit. Thus, also the cycle between Pluto and Uranus, whose subsequent conjunctions last in 1966 in Virgo, show an even more pronounced irregularity as well as a polarized trend. Let's contemplate all these cyclic vibrations or celestial embroideries through the eye of the heart, like the very causal score of the systemic, planetary, and human destinies. So the last icing on this celestial cake is that with respect to the progressive primary dates of the conjunctions every half millennium between Neptune and Pluto, Uranus successively touches all 12 signs, clockwise in 6,000 years. Wonderful. The cosmic zodiac of Uranus, 7th ray and first scheme of the synthesis. In synthesis, the wheel of the solar logos initiates and moves the waters of the solar system through its Kundalini energy or vital power according to the very deep impulses of the Neptune-Pluto cycle, while Uranus ensures its rhythmic and orderly circulation in the wheel of evolution. So we can formulate as it follows. While Neptune and Pluto stand by everywhere conjunction, Uranus circulates in the 12, attesting in the solar space the hierarchy of the cosmic Christ, Sirius. That is. To close in beauty, let's celebrate together the next alignment of Uranus in the very center of Taurus. Heliocentrically, it will be on May 23rd. It's very important because it entered in 2018 and it will go out from Taurus in 2025. So this 23rd of May, it will be the middle way of this great transit of 7 years of Uranus in Taurus, ruling the new group of world service. So while geocentrically, Uranus, it has been on May 9, and it will be next year on January 10 and February 5. Uranus is the initiator to the mysteries, Lord of the order, and he who makes all things new. And this crucial direction along the 3 main full moons dedicated to the 3 planetary centers, Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity, can be envisaged like a rod of cosmic light and harmony, so necessary now. Check the article that will be published on 23rd on the TPS, the Planetary System website. Taurus Scorpio is the zodiacal equator, pure fourth ray, the ray of the 4th human hierarchy. Taurus is the eye of revelation and rules the new group of world servers, the planetary Ajna center. Thus, this is a festival of cosmic light for us, for the new group of world servers. May we carve the golden way from chaos to beauty. And so to close in beauty, here is a video point dedicated to Pisces, one of the 12 I've been making, dedicated to the 12 signs, to their causal ideas, sounds, and lights. Enjoy. So the conclusion would be raising our loving eyes to heaven we assert, hail you brothers, and our ego dissolves. So enjoy the short video. You will hear the voice in Italian, but there are subtitles in English.
Nuotano inizi e fini incessanti, scende, ascende, precipita al fondo, sole agli inferi, Plutone sorge. O Giove fratello, alto Signore, tutto accogli, tutto sogna per due, ricorda il sempre e amore risveglia. Intelligente è sostanza di dee, muovono ovunque stille di luce, brillano là ove ascolta il respiro. Sode armonia, potere di stelle, che tutto dona e rinnova ancora, la grande ruota alla rinascita. Arte nel cuore la compassione, divino sorriso che esplode l'io, esalta Venere col suo incanto. Le acque celesti beve Nettuno, discioglie nel canto e benedice ogni infinito nella sua pace. Vero e perfetto il noi matrimonio, fusione sacra di 2 origini, qui e ora Sirio ed Urano nel cuore. Arde entusiasmo che fonde e unisce, arma è offrire se stessi il perdono, sorprende e sconvolge l'eternità. Tra inaccessibile ed inconsueto non si han prigioni né si confonde il canto ritmico della gioia. O grande bellezza, la più saggia salvezza spinge irrepressibile al compimento della tua legge. Regole sue non dà libertà, vie, venti sempre nuovi, spira vele per la coscienza l'oro del cielo. Immensità è il firmamento fuoco, divino è la ricerca la casa, il tuo ritorno nel mio silenzio.